My name is Emily, and I am 38 years old. I work as a general practitioner at a busy city hospital. My days are often long and demanding, filled with the responsibility of caring for patients, diagnosing illnesses, and offering comfort and support. Despite the challenges, I find my work incredibly rewarding. There's a profound satisfaction in helping people feel better, in making a difference in their lives, even in small ways. For many years, my focus was entirely on my career. I dedicated myself to my studies and then to building my practice. My social life was limited, and I was content with my own company and the occasional dinner with close friends from medical school. My apartment was my sanctuary, a quiet space where I could unwind after a hectic day at the hospital. About 6 months ago, a new specialist joined our team. His name was Dr. Daniel Hayes, and he was a brilliant cardiologist who had come from a renowned research institute. He was in his early 40s, with a thoughtful demeanor and a kind smile that could instantly put patients at ease. He had a quiet intensity about him when discussing medical cases, but also a gentle and approachable manner in everyday interactions. I first met Daniel during a multidisciplinary team meeting to discuss a complex patient case. I was immediately impressed by his knowledge and his ability to explain intricate medical details in a clear and understandable way. We didn't speak much beyond the professional discussion that day, but I found myself noticing him in the hospital corridors and the doctor's lounge in the weeks that followed. Daniel was often engrossed in his work, poring over patient files or consulting with colleagues. But whenever our paths crossed, he would always offer a warm greeting and sometimes a brief chat about work-related matters. I appreciated his professionalism and his respectful attitude towards everyone on the team. One particularly busy evening in the emergency room, we found ourselves working side by side, attending to a sudden influx of patients after a major traffic accident. The atmosphere was tense and chaotic, but Daniel remained calm and focused, his expertise proving invaluable in managing critical cases. We communicated efficiently. Our teamwork was seamless despite the pressure. Later that night, after the rush had subsided and the air had quieted down, Daniel and I found ourselves taking a much-needed coffee break in the deserted cafeteria. We were both exhausted, but relieved that the situation had been managed effectively. "That was quite a night," Daniel said, breaking the silence, a tired but genuine smile on his face. "It was," I agreed, taking a sip of my lukewarm coffee. "I'm glad we got through it." We started talking about the challenges of working in emergency medicine, the emotional toll it could take, and the importance of teamwork. I found myself opening up to him in a way I hadn't expected. He listened attentively, offering insightful comments and sharing his own experiences. As the weeks went by, Daniel and I started to interact more frequently. We would often have lunch together in the hospital cafeteria, discussing everything from interesting medical cases to our favorite books and movies. I learned that he was passionate about his research, loved to hike in his free time, and had a quiet but sharp sense of humor. I found myself increasingly drawn to his intelligence, his kindness, and his calm presence. There was a comfortable ease in our conversations, and I looked forward to our interactions with a growing sense of anticipation. I realized that I was developing feelings for Daniel, feelings that went beyond professional respect and friendship. One Saturday, the hospital organized a charity fundraising gala. I wasn't initially planning on attending, but a colleague convinced me at the last minute. To my surprise, I saw Daniel there, looking handsome in a dark suit. We ended up spending much of the evening talking, laughing, and even sharing a dance. There was a palpable connection between us that night, a spark that made my heart flutter. After the gala, Daniel started asking me out for coffee or dinner outside of the hospital. We went to a cozy Italian restaurant, explored a local art gallery, and took a long walk in the park on a crisp autumn afternoon. Each time we spent together, I felt our bond deepening. He was a thoughtful and attentive companion, and I cherished the moments we shared. Then, one evening, as we were having dinner at my apartment after a long day at the hospital, Daniel told me something that took me by surprise. "Emily," he began, his expression a little hesitant, "I need to tell you about a research opportunity I've been offered." My heart sank slightly. I had a feeling this wasn't going to be easy news. "It's a position at a leading cardiology institute in Boston," he explained. "It's a fantastic opportunity for my research, something I've been working towards for a long time." Boston, that was on the other side of the country. He saw the change in my expression and reached across the table to take my hand. "I haven't accepted it yet," he said gently. "I wanted to talk to you first." I felt a wave of conflicting emotions. I was happy for him. This sounded like an incredible step forward in his career. But the thought of him moving so far away filled me with a deep sense of sadness, and a fear of what it would mean for our budding relationship. "When would you have to decide?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "They need a decision within the next few weeks," he replied. We sat in silence for a moment, the only sound the gentle hum of the refrigerator. I tried to process the implications of his news. Our connection felt so real, so promising. Could it withstand the distance? Over the next few days, I found myself constantly thinking about Daniel's potential move. I talked to my closest friend, a fellow doctor at the hospital, and she offered her support and advice. She reminded me that long-distance relationships could be challenging but not impossible, especially if the connection was strong. I knew I had to be honest with Daniel about my feelings, and understand his perspective on the situation. One evening, I invited him over to my apartment, and we sat down for a serious conversation. "Daniel," I said, looking him in the eyes, "I care about you deeply. These past few months with you have been wonderful, and the thought of you leaving makes me incredibly sad." He took my hands in his gaze filled with warmth and understanding. "Emily," he said softly, "I care about you too, more than I can express. These weeks with you have been the happiest I've been in a long time." "Then why are you considering leaving?" I asked, my voice laced with a hint of vulnerability. "Because this research opportunity, it's a pivotal moment in my career," he explained. "It would allow me to pursue my research in ways that aren't possible here. It's a chance to make a real impact in the field of cardiology." I nodded, understanding his ambition and his dedication to his work. I couldn't ask him to sacrifice his professional goals for me, especially when our relationship was still relatively new. "What are you going to do?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. He sighed, a hint of conflict in his eyes. "I'm torn, Emily," he admitted. "Part of me feels like I need to seize this opportunity, but another part of me doesn't want to leave you." We talked for hours that night, sharing our hopes, our fears, and our uncertainties. We didn't reach a definitive conclusion, but we agreed to be open and honest with each other as he weighed his options. The next few weeks were a mix of joy and anxiety. We continued to spend time together, cherishing every moment, but there was always an unspoken awareness of the decision looming over us. I tried to be supportive, encouraging him to explore the pros and cons of the job offer, while also allowing myself to feel the sadness of potentially losing him. Daniel spent a lot of time in thought, talking to mentors and colleagues, and carefully considering what he wanted for his future. Finally, one evening he came to see me, his expression a mix of determination and sadness. "Emily," he said, taking my hands, "I've made my decision. I'm going to accept the research position in Boston." A wave of sadness washed over me, but I had anticipated this outcome. I knew how much this opportunity meant to him. I managed a weak smile. "I'm happy for you, Daniel," I said, trying to sound sincere. "This is a huge achievement." He squeezed my hands tightly. "This was the hardest decision I've ever had to make," he confessed. "Leaving you, it feels wrong." We held each other close for a long moment, the silence filled with unspoken emotions. We spent the rest of the evening talking about what this would mean for us, how we would stay in touch, and the possibility of a long-distance relationship. We made promises to video call regularly, and to try to visit each other when possible. The day Daniel left was bittersweet. I drove him to the airport, my heart heavy with sadness. We hugged goodbye, a lingering embrace filled with unspoken words and the weight of our uncertain future. As I watched him walk through the security gate, I felt a profound sense of loss, but also a flicker of hope that our connection might somehow endure the distance. Life at the hospital continued, and I threw myself back into my work, finding solace in the familiar routines. I missed Daniel's presence, his insightful conversations and his warm smile, but we stayed true to our promises, our video calls becoming a highlight of my week. The future is uncertain, and the challenges of a long-distance relationship are undeniable, but the connection Daniel and I forged was genuine and strong. Perhaps distance will test our bond, or perhaps life will eventually bring us closer again. For now, I cherish the memories we made and hold on to the hope that our story is not yet over. Life as a doctor is full of unexpected challenges and moments of profound connection, and my time with Daniel, however brief, was a reminder of the beautiful possibilities that can arise even in the most demanding of circumstances. Loved this story? Subscribe now for more like it, leave a comment and share the emotion with others. Don't forget to give it a like.